Hi everyone. So in this video, we'll be working on the technique to dimension boards. So like creating a face and the edge, registration face and a face edge. So that is what we are going to do. So here I am showing that I have already prepared one of the boards like with a face mark and the face edge mark, and they are like at 90 degrees to each other. So I have already prepared that. I'll be working on uh, the remaining boards. So this is for the smaller panel. So I have picked up the second board here, uh, trying to like what I will be trying here is to uh, here I'm trying to use my winding sticks to see if there are any twists. By the way, these are winding sticks that I had bought from Veritas, even though this should be very simple to make. But yeah, these were from my initial days where like I had very less confidence in my skills. So yeah, I am looking for any twists here, like to see that is the most important thing to get rid of the twists. So here that's the uh, portion I pointed to as a high spot. So that and the diagonally opposite corner with the high spot, I take a few extra savings to get that high spot down. And then I probably yeah, you can see I also took a few extra savings on the diagonally opposite corner also. And I'm also trying to get this surface plane because if I remember correctly, like the twist was very minuscule. And I remember that the winding sticks, they actually exaggerate the twist by a lot. So I am planing it overall, making the surface flat, and then yeah, also using my plane to see the overall horizontally how flat it is. Uh, so um, yeah, that's what I am trying to check. Uh, and then I again use get back to my winding stick to see if there are any twists. Uh, the, the twists were significantly reduced, or probably was zero by this time. So once this surface is flat, uh, I just take a pencil to mark that as my registration face or the face. So I'm also deciding, like when I mark the face, I decide which edge I want as my next face edge. So that's the mark I put. The tail of that F points to that side. Now I'm starting with also a combination square, which is not, unfortunately not shown in the picture, not coming up, uh, to see if there is it's at right angle already or if there is a discrepancy there. And I believe the side facing me was a little bit higher, but then I also looked at the grain direction and I had to turn the board. So the side opposite to me now is the higher side. So I see how instead of centering the plane, I start with the other side to take a shaving, one or two shavings, and then slowly I creep to the center and then take a full shaving end to end. That should uh, bring the uh, board back to flat. That should eliminate the high spot, I mean. And I keep checking for the with my combination square to see how I have done. Sometimes I don't get it immediately. More often it does come out perfectly. Uh, so here I am checking with my combination square, registering against the face. So yeah, and then yeah, I found that this is at right angle and I marked it as the face edge. So I have two sides perfectly planed. This is ready for resawing on the bandsaw to my 7/8 thickness. This is where I'm working on the second board now. So I do this on all of those. Uh, yeah, I mean it's a lot of fun to do this thing using hand tools. If I have a lot of boards to make, I do a few of those using hand so that I learn the technique, I get a good understanding, and then for the rest, I sometimes switch to my power planer. This is where I am also like not just the end to end. I also put the winding stick at different places to see if there is like a uh, back and forth twist on the board, which usually doesn't happen because these stores they actually do rough machining, and it's very less likely that it would be that warped. So yeah. So again, sometimes like combination square obviously for the right angle, and uh, you will see occasionally I eyeball to see like whether there is a bow or anything. Here you see I pull out my wooden jack plane. It's a lot of fun to use that. I use that from time to time uh, just to know the art and how to hammer tap and hammer set the plane. It's a lot of fun. And surprisingly, like wooden planes glide so smooth. So yeah, I mean, of course, like I my hand is more set with the metal jack plane, but I keep using these planes from time to time. Lot of fun. And these wooden planes are not supposed to be always on the collectibles shelves. Should not be on the stored as a collectible. Like it would be really nice if someone can make use of it. So I'm glad I am able to use one. So yeah, I keep going. Um, I think this was my last board. Um, so even though it may seem like sometimes I am trying to bulldog on the front knob, it's not that actually. We have to be very sensitive on that one. So I think I should ideally be changing my grip style. I will work on that. But since my initial days, this thing, my technique has improved a lot, I think, and I am getting a lot of accuracy.
Hi everyone. Uh, so in this part we are going to glue up some panels. If you remember last time we had I had planed like the bigger panel for the top of the TV unit, and then there is also another panel like a slightly smaller panel for the top of TV unit. So I'm going to start with show the smaller panel because it's just maybe easier to manipulate like or show on the video, and exactly the same process for the bigger one. Probably I don't have as many clamps, or actually I don't have as much space, so I'll be doing one panel at a time. And also I believe like someone who has a little bit of experience, maybe panel making is not that complicated, but there is little bit of skill needed for if we are purely talking about hand tools. It's so much easy to, of course, to run it through a table saw for jointing, or if you have a jointer and planer, then all the more like easier, but I'm not doing that. And the reason being, it's so much more enjoyable for doing it by hand, and I get to know the skills. Plus I'm not making like hundreds of these such panels or many panels at a time, so probably if I had too many to make for a business or something, then I would jump to a power tool. So the main thing about panels in this case, like for panel, the important thing is jointing, right? So I had previously chosen which ones are going to be my with my face mark. I want those pieces to be on the top, and then I just lay those down. So this is going to be my panel. This is just to get a rough idea. Let me move my planes aside. I don't want these planes to drop the floor or something. I always had this question in my mind that should I be trying to align the grains in one direction so that at the end it's easier for me to plane, but it's almost always impractical to think that way when we have too many pieces. This time I have 3 pieces. I'll see, maybe I am able to do that or maybe not, but I will just go by what like looks the best to me. So I'm just trying to eyeball like how it looks, I mean, this one is shorter, so I will try to keep it at one end. Doesn't matter. I need the total length of, let me see it. It's supposed to be 32 and a half. I want it slightly oversized. Even my smallest one is like 34, so I have enough leeway there. So what I'm trying to do here, just like keeping it side by side, just to see like which grain orientation makes it look the best. These two actually are looking very similar. If I put this at the center, no. Sometimes I mean, if I try to get it as close as I can, like with respect to appearance, but then I just manage with what I have got. This is, and I'm eyeballing the grain direction. This is more or less like straight grain, if at all it is going towards this way. This looks from the eyes like this looks similar. Does this look similar? This also looks similar. I mean, I like, doesn't always, the eyes can fool you, or the nature of wood can fool our eyes. So it's all fine. I just give it my like, and then what I do is I just put like a triangle, big triangle, like this, so that just helps me remember like which one goes where. Now I will start jointing like two pieces at a time. I start with these two. Yeah. So I need to clamp these two, because I need to, the trick about like jointing is to plane these together. Now they need to be level. Now if I do it this way on my bench, unless my bench is like end to end fully accurate, I won't be sure that this is level. So the trick that I learned from Paul Sellers is that it's a very traditional technique. So even better, like I bring it to the edge. So put a pencil at one end, this thing is off in the air, and this corner is like, more likely this small section is level, and this pencil is keeping the other side level. So now this is level. Take this and I will clamp these in together. That's it. Little bit lower in the vise, because this thing, that I saw a gap there. But it doesn't matter, the gap doesn't matter. I just thought I could reduce the gap, but it's fine. Yeah. So now I take my plane. Will this work? Number 5 works just fine. I have a 5 and I have the liberty of a 5.5. I'll just use that. Start with the middle, because there may be a hump in the middle, and in theory I may be going this way. So start with checking like how I feel in the center. I elongate the stroke until I take a uniform shaving. This side I was taking only on the right side, here I was taking only on the left. I take one more. I just stop there. Now this is where I test it out. Now the idea here is that I don't need to check whether I have, now this surface is like square or I have made it out of square. Because if it is out of square, the plane would have made those, like both of those surfaces out of square. And if like this way, if I put it there, once they come in together, the angle is going to compensate. I hope that was clear, but that's the beauty of it. We may not get it right in the first attempt, mainly because we may have, because of a hollow or something. But tell you what, this is for a first attempt, this is really good. The only thing I have, I don't know whether I can show you this. Let me try to bring the, this is not perfectly jointed, but almost perfectly jointed. If I can show you, no gap here, perfect until this point. Now there is a separation. The reason is that there is like a belly here. Now in theory, like if someone says that I want to clamp this in, because this side, like if I close in this side, this gets closed and this side opens. So there is definitely a belly here. Now with a tight clamp, I can get this. This will work perfectly fine. But I want to get it, get my jointing technique perfect. So I just need to remove this part, take a few savings here. So I have to go back to the same steps. Let me put my camera back. Bring those pieces back. Same thing, because it is so hard to manage. I can do two pencils at two ends also, but this thing works remarkably well. I will try to feel for where that just a few extra shavings at the center that may have done the trick, or maybe a couple more shavings, but we'll see. Tell you what, this is gone. Do I want to show you? Yes. This is like perfect. So now these things are, these two are ready to be glued. I have to joint this panel. I'm looking for my triangle there. That goes on the other side, so this side I don't need anymore, like for this jointing. I put this back in here. I don't have to be exactly matching the triangles. The triangle is a gauge line, like which one, like what's the sequence, but so that I don't get confused. But I want to stay around that. I'm trying to just remove a lot of material now because this is very rough. Let me take a plane with heavier setting. And you know which one had a heavier setting? My wooden plane. And Paul Sellers oil in a can works with wooden planes also. It has a heavier setting, so I'm not going to go too deep. I got like my initial start at the center, just to feel like if there is a I'm not getting my plane to cover this part, so which means there may be a hollow here. I'll take a few more saving. I sense like there is a hollow in the between, which is why like the plane is like skipping this and going. So I don't want to press down on my plane too much. This is what ideally I want. especially here, because if I press too much, I can bring about a belly and that can go down. That used to happen to me when I was a beginner. I'm taking more shavings because this thing and this thing looks fine. Here I can feel with my fingers there is a hollow. I want to get rid of that. And that may not be an issue actually. So one more shaving. Let me see. That almost extended. Maybe one more. Last one. This one was almost a complete thing. Still there was a little bit of skip around this area, but it was, there is a hump in the middle, but let me see how was this supposed to be aligned. This was supposed to go this way. I'm trying to align the triangles and see whether the hump is still there. I'm trying to see where is it pivoting. Around this area. So I'm just trying to mark something here. Just to tell me that there is a hump around that area. That's it, nothing else. And once I take that off, I'm sure this is going to be perfect. So I still I went all the way, but a few extra savings around that area where I could see like a, what do we call that, belly. So try it again. How does it feel? Great. Completely. This thing is done. No gaps whatsoever. Very clean joint. The advantage of putting the little bit of extra time, clearing out those, making sure there is no bellies or valleys, is that I don't need super heavy, I don't need to clamp the life out of it. And I will tell you, in the past, I have made very good projects where this was not perfect. I put a lot of pressure on the clamps. Things have popped out and I have put that back in with coals and all, but and it has worked perfectly. Wood is under a lot of stress there, but they will survive. But with this, I can just use those Harbor Freight clamps and minimal pressure. If there will be proper squeeze out, and this is going to stay super strong. So that's about it. I just need to now glue these pieces in. Now what I'm trying to do is let me put two clamps here. I mean, of course, these clamps will not work well if you don't do the retrofitting, which is putting a piece of pine. Plywood also works, but pine works better. It's easier to sneak that piece in. I'm just trying to lay it out. Now, what am I trying to do here? I'm just trying to lay it out to the best I can. I mean, I've seen the easiest way to do it is just do these two surfaces, leave one aside, these two, and I'm covered. So let me try that. Now the best technique I have seen Paul use is like just rubbing, like rub, and they will stick to each other, which, to be frank, like I've not used much. So so I'll try it now. So few times I rub it, and I don't need to spread with my fingers. That is enough. And let me see. I will try to open it. So see, it's almost like completely spread out. But I think it's in my. I just am little bit cautious, or like not needed. But I like spreading with my fingers. Just me. But I don't think that is necessary. So because that rubbing motion like pulls those things to two pieces together, and the clamping will ensure that there is squeeze out. So that's a very traditional technique, especially with hide glue, and it works as I like have come to know. It works just as fine with this PVA glue. I'll still rub it little bit. That's it. Now I'll bring the clamps in together. Now my intention is not to like fully tighten these 3 clamps yet. I'll start with the center one just to hold these in. Then I'm going to put a couple of clamps from the top to counter the pressure. I'll just like put enough pressure to bring this in. See, already I see a lot of squeeze out. I'll still apply some more clamps. And right here I can avoid like lot of glue sticking to my clamps by removing this thing with just these shavings. I won't have shavings if I'm using only power tools, right? This thing I don't see a need. It's just like because I see a uniform squeeze out now throughout. So in theory I don't need this clamp. I just have this. I don't have any more clamps also of this length. So because I have it, I'm going to put it this way just to counter the pressure rather than applying any pressure really. Now I'm just trying to feel with my fingers like if it is level, if there is anything I could do. Bit of like hammer does help. Little bit. I don't want to disrupt the alignment too much. Going over each like not trying to clamp the life out of it, but like revisiting each point just to see like if I can get a little bit of extra turn. That's it. These clamps like apply more than enough pressure, especially for panels of this size. Now I'm going to be planing these again, so I leave it overnight and this should be ready. I'm sure there would be like glue on the other side, but I don't need to check too much. The only reason I was trying to check was I don't want glue to spill on my workbench. So just where I don't have that plywood piece, I'm trying to wipe off something, any excess from there. This side. That's it. I leave it.
Oh,
So I will be probably be doing the bigger panel maybe tomorrow, maybe in a couple of days, and then let me see like what all next I can do. Maybe the base. There is like a I have to work on dovetail joints for the base. Like there is like a unit on which this thing sits on. This part, so it has like two corners with dovetail joints, and so this is the one I believe I'm going to work. So I have to prepare a couple of panels for that, or like boards for that, and then I will work on the dovetail joints for that. Okay.